Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Accountant. We are here. We are live as per usual. It is our 8:30 every Monday morning weekly session with all of you wonderful people. Say good morning in the comments. Let us know how you are getting on, and drop us any hints if you've heard any juicy stories that you'd like us to cover. Aaron, as always, is here with me today. Aaron, how are you, and how was your week?
First of all, it's episode number 57. The date's the 20th of November 2000. So I'll read the script. Don't you worry about it.
I told you about this script, malarkey. It's a total waste of time.
We need some structure, Johann. Some structure.
You and me
no,
turning up every Monday morning. That is enough structure for anyone.
It's been a great week. I have spent what was it, the week before, 4 days in London plus Brighton. The week just gone, 4 days in London. This week, 4 days in London. So yeah, I'm enjoying London. Well, I say I'm enjoying. I'm tolerating London at this point in time. So yeah, exciting times ahead, and we'll talk a little bit about it. We've got a few bits to go over throughout the show, haven't we? So I won't talk about it now. But yeah, we'll bring some of those little tidbits of why I was in London for 4 days a week last week and in the next couple of times. But should we say good morning to the people who are commenting below?
Let's do that. So good morning to Paul, as always. Good to see you. Good morning to Louise. Good morning to Paul Keating as well. Good morning to Natasha. And I believe congratulations on releasing your book last week.
Yeah.
Is in order.
Loving the new logo. Look at that.
Yeah.
Brand awareness. We like a bit of brand awareness, don't we?
Yep. Good morning, Ashley. How are you today? I did have a lovely, very chilled and quiet birthday yesterday. Thank you, Ashley. Good morning to Luke. Good morning to Merlin and Vittorio. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Ashley says script. What's that? Yeah, I know. And so Ashley Googled what the script is, comes back meaning to write, and all its meanings have to do something written. Your handwriting is your script. Well, there you go. The written version of what you're supposed to say, rather than whether for a wedding, toast, or play or a script. There we go. Yeah, no, we've got some bullet points. I stick to most of the bullet points.
Stick to any yet. Say good morning. Oh, we need to say though, it is a happy birthday for you. Therefore, I'll do a little effect for you.
Thank you.
There we are. That's all you get.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Right, so got quite a bit to crack on with today. So obviously we give a lot of airtime to our friends at QuickBooks, Employment Hero, Apron, who we'll talk about later on as well, because they've just done a small release.
So basically, really good software is what I'm hearing there. Like A-tier stuff. You're talking about really good A-tier software at that point, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe we give Xero a bit of stick for the only updates that they ever do seem to be font changes and layouts in the reports differing. But we have to put our hands up and say, fair enough, Xero, you've announced an update that's not just a font update. So let's spend some time talking about that and go from there. So Xero have been doing their roadshow across the UK. And as part of that, they have announced 3 main areas, I think, to be fair. There was also some talk on what their focuses are going forwards, which is interesting, and didn't receive the warmest of welcomes on social media, but we shall see how we get on. So first of all, they have launched Tax Manager. Now, this is the ability to see all your clients' tax deadlines, whether that's VAT, corporation tax, personal tax, in one place, in one screen. All right. Sage have had that for a while, haven't they?
Yeah. But in fairness, QuickBooks hasn't.
It hasn't, but it has got a practice management tool that will show you all of that.
Very true. Very true.
Right. So yeah, this is Xero's pulling basically. So at the moment, you have to go into your VAT space in Xero. You have to go into your tax manager, whatever they call it in Xero. They're just combining all that information into one place. And And they seem to be doing a bit of a focus on their practice management tool, which is going to take a bit of effort to get it out the 1990s, but let's see what happens. So that was their first update.
Well, just on that though, I mean, the advantage they have is, in theory, and I haven't tested it, and I probably won't test it, but in theory, they can get that information straight from MTD. Great, and they've in all jokes aside, that's one advantage that they had nailed from day one, right? Their MTD integration was actually stronger than the competitors in terms of you could see what multiple ones were. It's not just the one that's due, so you could see what multiple filings were there, and they had a little integration of what payments were made and stuff in there that you could kind of see if it was overdue or not. So fair play to them on that one. So that information we know is going to be good, and it's built on there. And in theory, they can tell you if the tax returns are, in terms of corporate and personal, are actually filed, because they can go through their software to tell you that, right? And they can say, oh, if you're using their software, then yes, you filed it, or no, you haven't, right? So that is what QuickBooks Practice Manager will be in X amount of time when it's all built and ready to go. And it is a functionality that, from the likes of Client Engager, would love to have, right? If you could have that final tick to say that it is actually been filed, or it's in process of it, or it's been prepared, that is actually quite powerful, isn't it? So kudos to that bit.
At Client Engager, we are looking at that as part of the MTD integration for VAT authorization requests.
Yeah,
we are looking at the option to then verify VAT deadline dates, as we do currently with Companies House.
Yeah,
for year-end accounts. So
the disadvantage of that is you're waiting on HMRC to update to MTD, which
yeah,
how long you got?
So, well, no, date verification is already available. Has been for a long time. But yeah, so we the general feel on social media is like, great, you show me all the deadlines in one place, but you still haven't built practice partnership returns. Now I know QuickBooks haven't either, but Xero are a couple of years ahead of this and acquired a pre-built solution which didn't work, so they had to start again. But yeah, like they've also announced like all major boxes are now available on the SA 100 forms, including SA 106 and 107. But I would argue what a developer at Xero thinks is a major and what an accountant or bookkeeper thinks is a major box could be very different. So I would just check which ones they've actually got before you get too excited. But yeah, so they're also looking at trying to get rid of this Xero Practice HQ tool and Xero. They've got a few different windows. They're trying to bring it all into one place.
Which makes sense, right? Like, it is confusing, isn't it, as to where you've got to go? And yeah,
it's horrible. So yeah, it does make sense that they're trying to bring it all in one, but I'd say they're playing catch up with Free Agent, QuickBooks, and Sage here, because they've all had it all in one for a while. What information they display in that one view in that one place is potentially different.
Okay, but I mean, Sage had it nailed, haven't they? Because they built it from scratch, like purpose built from day one. Done, so.
Yeah. So yeah, it's we'll see what comes out of that one, shall we? They also announced some changes to their payments, so you can now power their payment. You've always been able to power their pay now button, which we've been demanding from QuickBooks for a long time. But they've been demanding the pay now button can be powered. They've been allowing pay now buttons to be powered by pretty much anyone that links in properly and certified with them. But they've now got an agreement, and now maybe that is closed. We need to test that. But they've now got a formal agreement in place with our friends over at Cresco, which is fantastic news for the Cresco team. So any open banking payments can now be done through pressing Pay Now, powered by Cresco. So, which was already possible, but the fact that they're partnering with them and making a big official marketing thing and stuff is a huge result for Cresco and the team there. So well done to them. But in doing that, they're also dropping the official partnership with Wise, or TransferWise as they were formerly known. Obviously not well adopted and used. Whether they thought people were going to want to use the multinational payments and stuff more than they actually have, I don't know. But fair play to Xero. They've recognised that it's not working, that people aren't using it, and they've dropped it, which, yeah. If only QuickBooks had done the same with PayPal.
Yeah, but it's still the TransferWise connection's still there, isn't it? With QuickBooks.
Oh, it's still available. They just don't promote it anymore.
Yeah, well, why would you? When
it's been terminated.
Half-hearted in the best possible way, and it just causes more issues than actually solves, doesn't it, at this point in time? So no, great news for Cresco, that one. I think that's it's a good boom for them, and that'll help their adoption, right? They clearly got a nice tool for actually making payments abroad. It's just difficult to get the adoption. So fair play to them.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next one, I don't know. I'm undecided on this.
Get off that
e-invoicing.
Johann.
E-invoicing. So technically, Xero's had this from year dot, where you can put a code into your client Xero, or you can give a code to another supplier that uses Xero, and when you send an invoice, it automatically goes into their Xero for approval, vice versa. So that's the principle of e-signing, of e-invoicing, is that you're transmitting data directly into software, so you don't have to go via Dext and auto entry and stuff like that, which is fantastic. They seem to be rebranding it as e-invoicing now, because it used to be called something else. I cannot remember what.
It had a very network, wasn't it? Xero network.
Yeah. It had a very low rate of adoption, from what I understand. But in Europe, e-invoicing is huge. Like, it's mandated. It's becoming mandated in every EU country. There's absolutely no noise from the UK government about looking at mandating this. I think the UK government are thinking, well, I'd rather get the tax mandated in MTD before we deal with how we deal with the invoices.
But if you look at the scope of MTD, that was like stage 576 or whatever number,
in 3020.
Yeah. But there was at one point they were talking about MTD being this whole push for electronic invoicing via peer-to-peer, because at one point they wanted it to follow the crypto kind of idea, wasn't it? And it was going to go down the fact that you're going to go down that it wouldn't have been crypto, but you had that idea, the same technology behind that, right? So that's what they wanted, peer-to-peer. Yeah, that's long way off. And like you said, because it's not being mandated, the adoption's going to be.
Yeah, so the government's not even talking about this, so I don't think the adoption is going to really be there. But I think the bigger problem is, because it's not mandated, it's not standardized.
Yep.
So Xero have launched their e-invoicing. So people send e-invoices into Xero, but that relies on QuickBooks, Free Agent, Sage, and all the others generating e-invoices that can be communicated via that tool that Xero have built. Yeah, and it's like, when the DVD came out, or videos came out, there was different formats and things didn't talk to each other. And unless the government mandates this, I see the same thing happening again. We might have 2 or 3 different platforms for e-invoicing servers and stuff, and how they all talk to each other. And unless it's standardized through legislation, I don't think anyone's truly benefiting from this until that happens. Because there's no way we're going to get Sage, Xero, Free Agent, QuickBooks, and all the others sat in a room and go, right, come on then, guys. Which platform we're using? How are we going to make this work for our customers? No, none of them are going to sit and do that. And they're not going to, and then walk out, really nice meeting. That's, we've agreed on that. Great, let's all work on that. But it's just not going to happen. So, the government needs to be that mediator that says, no, this is how you're going to do it. we've just seen Apple announce RCS messaging coming to Apple phones next year because they've had to back down that Apple iMessage isn't going to work on Android, and Android's adopted RCS messaging, which in effect is iMessage, but at different platforms and different servers and stuff. So yeah, like the reason Apple's done that is because the EU were about to tell them they had to.
Yeah,
so unless there's legislation to get these software companies to follow the same rules and the same processes, they're all going to do their own thing. And yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they try and do something better for their own customers? That you really only get all these features if you're using the QuickBooks tool or the Free Agent tool, the Sage tool, or the Xero tool. So yeah, I think there's more. It's more presentation and less substance at this point from Xero, saying, they're trying to get the steal on everyone else, saying we're going to do e-invoicing. It's like, yeah, but what are the actual day-to-day practicalities and benefits of this? What's the wider adoption going to be? Because while you've still got your people that are raising Word document invoices and Excel document invoices and using a free app on their phone to raise an invoice, like that's all counterproductive towards the e-invoicing side of things. So
yeah, and why is because it's business to business is what this mandated for, right? But why, if you're not got a business account with Amazon, do they not have to adopt it?
Yep.
And where does it stop? Is it Amazon, or do you have to keep going to every service provider out there? If you get an e-contract out for your mobile phone, does that have to be invoicing going forward? Like, at what point does it stop? That's to me where that's they've got to figure that bit out, right? They've got to, if for this to work, and like you said, for the adoption to be there, it's not just business to business, and everyone has to start using some form of electronic FMS, but it needs to be that to work. And then, thinking it out loud, like, is it going to be an email? Do you email to their normal email? Do you have to email to their special e-invoicing email? There's going to be bits that need to be figured out practically, isn't there, for this to be adopted?
Yeah. I do think it's a PR stunt, this one. It's we've got much to talk about. Let's rebrand what we've already got and open it up to a bit more.
We can't talk about MTD again.
No, you can't talk about MTD again because everyone else has stopped talking about it. And we can't really go out with another different font. So, but yeah, e-invoicing is the future as a concept. Like, it will come to the UK at some point in time.
It'll be part of the MTD
legislation. I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
It'll be the next evolution from MTD was, right, we've got the tax, we're reporting the tax more effectively. Now we need to have those e-invoices to support those filings. Whereas European countries have gone, right, we're going to do we want the e-invoicing now, and then we'll modernize our tax system and digitalize that later. So
you think about it, it prevents fraud and all sorts, right? Done properly, because the idea that you can't get paid from your, you can't pay your plumber, for example, unless they send you an invoice. It was supposed to be down to that sort of idea, wasn't it? That you literally can't get paid. And if it's an e-invoice, then it's legitimized, it's out there in the ether, it then should appear on, that was the point of it, right?
And we all know what our government are like and HMRC are like with spines. So they'll go, we're going to do e-invoicing. And then they'll start ruling out all these different groups of people and businesses that don't have to do e-invoicing, which means it's completely, utterly ineffective and pointless anyway. But such is the way of legislation. So yeah, I think out of all of that, fantastic news for Cresco and their payments. And hopefully that gets them a lot more traction and volume of transactions through their platform. And pay now via open banking, it's becoming a bigger thing. Like, tinfoil hat moment, but I would not be surprised, and if we see QuickBooks announce this in the coming years at some point, that they've just announced that app-to-app feature that allows them to link bank accounts a lot easier using open banking. The next evolution of that naturally is to power their pay now button by that. So we'll see what comes.
And surely
you know,
Employment Heroes looking at it, so they're all going to be looking at it, right? Like,
yeah,
it's an
everyone's going to be looking at it. So yeah, I reckon the payments bit is probably the biggest news out of all of that, because I would go on the assumption a lot of Xero users use practice management software, which gives them the dates all in one place for their clients anyway. But I might be completely wrong there. So yeah, any other thoughts on the Xero updates, Aaron?
Well, I think we should take this moment to have a look at comparing the two. So Xero on their roadshow, that was their announcement. QuickBooks was on their roadshow. Now, okay, we are probably the least biased ones, least non-biased ones to be talking about at this point. So take what we're saying here with a pinch of salt. But if you look at just the roadshows alone and what was announced, surely there's a clear winner in terms of enhancements coming or improvements to the product, right? Like, I think we've said it for a long time. It feels like Xero feel like they're at, pretty much feature parity. They're where they want to be. They're happy with that. They've got market share. They just need to keep their user base happy and everyone's okay, right? They don't need to grow.
Yeah.
Or at least there's no massive need for them to grow, right? They've already got the market share. They're market leaders. So safe to say then that the fact that Intuit came out with Intuit Assist and Practice Manager and Payroll Bureau and books of tax, and we can keep going, right? There were so many announcements that were said at the show. Yeah. It's clear that one was pushing for their new announcements while the other one was trying to fill a void of a gap where maybe their roadshow was more about how to use what's already there as opposed to what's coming in the future, which for me and you, maybe we put too much emphasis on because that's what gets us excited. We watch the Apple keynote events for what's coming, not what's already there, right? Like that's the point of it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think actually, if you look at the two roadshows, there's a dramatic difference in culture there at the moment. So if you look at Xero, we're putting all the information into one place for tax manager. So wakey. We've swapped our payment provider to Cresco. That cool. But open banking is not this new revolutionary thing. It's been about for a while. E-invoicing, well, it's just a rebrand and a rehash of what we've already got, really. Whereas you go to QuickBooks and it's Intuit Assist, AI this, AI that. It's talking about the future. Like, I know, and anyone that's attended a roadshow for QuickBooks has walked away knowing the direction that they see the future in and their plan to get there.
Yeah.
Based on the press releases that I've read for Xero Roadshow, I've got no sense of direction from them.
Yeah.
Like, no reference to AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we didn't attend the events, we have to be fair, and maybe they discussed it, but when the marketing and PR teams release all their press releases, they put in those press releases for any software company the key points that they're talking about, the key talking points. No reference to AI.
So either it was talked about and it was very not, there was no substance behind it, or as I think you're rightly saying, there was no mention of it at all.
Yeah. And when you look at those figures that QuickBooks are quoting of, we've got X amount of data engineers, we've got X amount of patents, we've got all of this.
700 patents.
Yeah. And for them to not mention that at all, I think they're on the back foot again with AI now.
Yeah. So this is the point, right, for us as practice owners going forward. We're at this stage where we've got to figure out where we're going to stick our flag. We've all got this flag at the moment. We've got to think about MTD. We've got to think about AI. We know going forward that, rightly or wrongly, we are going to be forced into one ecosystem. Yeah, there's going to be or a handful of ecosystems. We can't do what we're doing now, where we try and get the best of everything, and our tech stack is all about let's try and find the best of each category. We know going forward we're going to need to have a opportunity to have one ecosystem to rule them all, at least the very few amount of ecosystems possible, so that things like AI, things like MTD can actually do what it needs to do, right? And that they need to talk about that to us now. There's no point talking about it to us in 2-3 years time, because by then we should have made our decision then, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to get us to make that decision now. So ultimately, now's the time to be talking about the future. There's never been a more important time to talk about it, because we need to start making those preparations now, don't we? So it's strange that they're not pushing, looking at the future, pushing the future. I know they've got difficulties there in terms of development and everything else, because they're not got, they've had to do layoffs and there's all that negativity around it, but they still need to push. That needs to be their opportunity to tell us that we've got to make the right decision, right?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like, we need those early warnings so we can plan. Like, in theory, I'm calling 2023 the year of AI. At the end of 22, OpenAI hit the world. ChatGPT.
Yep.
2023 has all been about, where does AI sit in the accounting industry, and how can it help us with accounting and bookkeeping and our day-to-day jobs? And QuickBooks has made it extremely clear where they see AI sitting and how it's going to work. Xero had this opportunity to talk about AI, and they haven't, which gives me no direction. So if I was sat there going, which one do I go for, without even a favorite of blue or green, if you're looking at setting up a firm today, ready for next year and stuff, which one sounds more future-proof? The one that's got all of these patents and all these opportunities, or the ones that is yet to mention it?
Yep, exactly right.
So, yeah, okay. So we will move on from that. Now, there is a huge event happening over in Las Vegas. I mean, like, if
F1,
people
wasn't
can, apart from that was a.
I
Let's
enjoyed
hope
it.
let's hope there's more quality entertainment at QuickBooks Connect Las Vegas than there was in the F1 leading manhole covers. Although the marketing people have done well out of that.
Yep.
Do you see the Domino's one?
Yeah, filling it in with
Fill it in with a garlic dip. Genius. So QuickBooks Connect has been happening in Las Vegas, and we are going to leave that as a topic for our QuickBooks Labs episode next week. So we will come back to that.
Yeah.
Pardon? Not next week, the week after.
Yeah.
Yes. So start of December, we will touch and base and talk all things QuickBooks Las Vegas, from celebrity attendance through to announcements that we believe we could then see come towards the UK if there was anything. But yeah, we will leave that where it is for now. So tune in 2 weeks' time to QuickBooks Labs, and we will go into all things QuickBooks Labs and go from there. So next topic. Our friends at Apron have been busy, aren't they? Always tinkering away with things. But Apron have now launched an update which gives you a full audit trail for every payment process, which, when the client comes back to you and says, oh, I didn't do this, and oh, what's that? And it's like, well, you've approved it, or you've authorized it, or and you've sent the payment, or your admin authorized it, you authorized it, and your admin sent the payment. Well, that audit information is really important. So yeah, Apron have launched an audit trail for all their payment transactions, which is fantastic news, and just gives us that another level of confidence in the fact that if we're ever challenged on anything, we can back it up, I think. Have you had a play with it, Aaron? Had any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think for me, just having the standard audit trails just seems sensible, right? And it's just nice to see that feature come in. I think what they've done differently and what they've really focused on, though, is just the level of that detail. So it's something, something as simple as if someone was to change from one bank account to another. So they were originally going to pay this bank, but now they're paying this bank. That gets highlighted, and that's super important, isn't it, when it comes to if anything was to go wrong, if there was any issues, if you want to back anything up. Those sort of things are going to be super crucial. And the fact that you don't even have to think about it. It's not like you have to add this feature on or anything. This just happened in the background and it's going to be there for you when you need it. That's what it's all about, and that's what they do well, right? They just make it so that it's just straightforward for that user to do, and that's where they've done with other options like this. It'll be, you can see the strap line now. Oh, new audit trail release, but you're going to have to tick this, tick that, put this through, then jump through these hoops to do it. That tends to be your typical approach to these sort of things, isn't it? Whereas these guys, as always, have just went, well, let's just make sure, let's concentrate on that user experience. Have we nailed that? Yes. Okay, we can roll it out. And that's, we couldn't ask for anything more, could we?
Yeah, exactly. So well done to the guys at Apron. And I know they're very busy working on several other feature updates. So expect a lot more news from them dropping out onto the headlines over the coming weeks and months, I think. So, Aaron, you were in London, or Londinium, back last week, just for a change, because you really like London and you've not spent much time there. I don't think you're even classed as a tourist now or a visitor, are you? You're just a resident of London. So, what were you in London for this time?
A few things, but my first part of the trip was for Employment Hero, and going to their award night, their first award night, which was really nice, actually. They basically brought all their partners into one room, had an opportunity to give out some exclusive swag, including branded cocktail, should I say, which was lovely to see. There was the likes of Charlie was there, Ariona was there, so we had some nice people from the industry to talk to, and some other people there as well, which I had quite a bit to drink, so I can't remember all the names.
I was getting the drunken text messages, very cryptic as well. It's like, Aaron's at the party.
But one of the nice bits was their recognition of partners as well, and they went around and they did some awards, and Boffins came away with the Transformation, let's get this right, Transformation Awards powered by Employment Hero, and we were the Partner of the Year winner 2023. So I got to go up, got to get my amazing trophy. I've had that with me in the thank you. I'll do my speech now for my thank you speech. No, but it was an amazing event. Like, we really, really enjoyed it. And it was just good. What I'd like, or what I did like about them, is the fact that they knew, like, what's the parts that people enjoy about these events, right? It is the networking, it is talking, it is getting together, it is that sort of thing. So, it was very much canapes or canapes, whatever you call them, wandering around. So it was making sure we didn't have to sit down and, miss the chance to talk to one another and everything else. It was constantly having that networking. They kept the kind of conversations and stuff brief in terms of the presentations and stuff. And then they made sure there was some social media opportunities as well. So that was good fun. Yeah, fantastic. It was a good event, and nice to be recognized, isn't it, as an award winner. So yeah, very, very grateful for it. And yeah, we just, if anything, we need to do a bit better push our end of how good the event was. So yeah, good times had by all.
Good. Okay, so that was the first part of your trip to London. What was part two?
Part two was
not left me jealous at all.
Part two was the Trainer Writer Network meetup. So through QuickBooks, if you've ever had ever been trained for anything through there, through the webinar platforms, through course certification, advanced certification, or recertification, then it was ran by the Trainer Writer Network, which is a group of us accountants who provide the trainers training, and we have an annual get together, and part of the annual get together is to talk about what should we be training next year, like how we're going to improve, blah blah blah, your normal annual meetup. But it's always recognized by swag, and I've had some of the best swag out of that event that I've ever had. My amazing gilet, Trainer Writer Network gilet. I've got an amazing bag, very similar to the Accounting Council bag, but this year they definitely raised the bar, and we were very, very lucky. So we got ourselves a nice little, I think you've got one of these already, haven't you? One of the nice little cups.
Yep.
So talk about the fact that Intuit QuickBooks training team on there. We love to see. We got one of my nicest bags I've ever had in terms of like opportunity to go away and put some stuff in. So nice little bag that you can take with you. Very, very stylish, very nice. Intuit QuickBooks branded, which we like to see. I'm saving the best of last here. We had a nice little speaking of present, you've got a nice little trainer right network, certified trainer little thing to go there. So that was lovely. Pop sockets and stuff like that. And then probably the swag of the absolute decade. We got some Air Force Ones with Intuit QuickBooks there. And at one point, they were going to put Intuit QuickBooks trainer, because it's a trainer. That's what they're going to go for. But no, they went for the more subtle approach. They've got the nice green tick Intuit QuickBooks there, Air Force Ones. And I'm very, very tempted. I've been looking at the because it's Black Friday, obviously. I've been looking at opportunities to see, and there's magnetic things where you can show off your trainers, and they spin magnetically, and then and I can put a green tint to them as well. So very tempted to go down that route. But yeah, I would say that was swag of the absolute decade. In terms of, we love our trainers, don't we? I mean, they're not disappeared. These are the ones that you've got over there as well, and we love these trainers, and we love showing them off. But a bit of special, that one.
I can only sit and hope that in 2 weeks' time, when we're at the accounting council, there's some more of those going around.
There's only 11 that was ever made, and 11
that you've been told about.
No. That is 11 of 11. There's a little plaque that we got saying what number we were and all that lot. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but next week at the week after at County Council, there'll be something else that will.
That'll be
That's
I mean, we don't do these things for the swag. We do these things because we're very passionate about feeding back to QuickBooks on the Accounting Council, and your passion for training and improving people's use of QuickBooks, etc. But it's certainly nice to have the swag as well.
It is very appreciated. It was an amazing event. We got to talk to a lot of the people up at QuickBooks. More NDAs were signed, so there's even more stuff that I got to see about what was happening in even the team over in India, what they're preparing at, which I've never spoke to before in my life. So that was great to see. Some great things coming in as soon as we get to talk about them. Don't you worry, we'll be talking about on the show, on QuickBooks Labs and the QuickBooks channel. So we'll go through some comments, because I've just realised we've missed a few.
Go for it.
Paul says he was sure it was more of a guidance, going all the way back to the beginning of the show. Yeah. Is it right to legislate e-voicing? Yet there's still plenty of businesses that rely on manual invoicing. My view is MTD needs to be in place first. I think we'll both agree on that one, don't we?
Yeah,
good point there, Paul. Sue says TransferWise was so expensive, and it definitely was. Was that the only reason to get an adoption? Was it just the price point, or do you think it was also the fact it was quite clunky?
It was a clunky integration. It was expensive, but also I question how many international payments need to be made from zero for small businesses in today's world, because you just pay by card, the bank deals with it.
I suppose business to business, isn't it? If you're paying a contractor and stuff, that's where it becomes in. But even then, it was so clunky. All I got was the money returned back to me 5 or 6 times, and I just annoyed the contractor. So I was like, well I'll go to my standard way of paying it.
I used to use TransferWise for a few months, and then I moved to Cresco for my international payments. Cheaper, easier. Cresco will be able to replace TransferWise without any headaches there and make a fantastic job of it. So definitely a step in the right direction for that integration. Here's
hoping Ryan offers to attend 2024 QB Connect to discuss Wrexham.
Yes. Ryan Reynolds was at QuickBooks Connect Las Vegas. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed meeting Tom Kitchen and I cook from his cookbook regularly that he's signed to my wife. But it's not Ryan Reynolds.
There's layers, isn't there? There's layers, yeah. Although my favorite part about that is all the memes that's come out of his photo op opportunity, where purposely, he does not look interested because he's in a room full of accountants, which I absolutely love. I'm all up for that. It was full on. It was his persona, wasn't it? Which we love.
Yeah.
And Louise says, so envious of those Air Force Ones. Oh, they are beautiful. They are beautiful. And the problem is, I'm never going to wear them. They're just going to sit there. I'm going to find some way of being able to show them off in the background. I might even change this whole background so that they're the number one.
Focus on.
And go through from there.
Cool. Okay, let's move on. Aaron, I hear you've heard some rumors in the jungle. The jungle drums are drumming of potential acquisition.
Yeah, which came out of nowhere as well. I mean, we're pretty. I mean, if we put our tinfoil hats on, we're pretty good at trying to guess who's going to acquire what, right? Or at least who would be in the market.
Who's interested in what industries? Yes, this one. I mean, what's your evidence for this one?
So I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is a very tinfoil hat moment. In fact, we may need to start having more of a
disclaimer,
a different segment. I think this isn't Let's Talk Industry. This is Fantasy Zone moment, because we're basing this on very tangible evidence, or very untangible evidence at this point in time. But this was a blog post, and the blog post says that Alphabet, which is 1.7 trillion, or that's 1.4 in pounds, which ain't Google, so basically Google itself, is looking to buy and in talks to get a major stake in the one and only Monzo Bank. They're saying that the value of Monzo at the moment is 4 billion. So the idea would be that Google would buy into the 4 billion, and that, well, they're going to try and throw 500 million at it to get a bit more of a, or get a bigger stake in it, or major stake in it. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, fintech banks, challenger banks pushing forward. This could be a big move, surely. The technology they could bring to the table. I mean, you're a Google Android user now, aren't you? So you're on the
we don't
Google,
talk about that.
you're on the Google bandwagon now. You know, I've heard you getting a Chromebook soon. Yeah, you're going all the way in. Forgetting the iPad, you're going for an Android tablet. You know, they call you Mr. Google, from what I've heard. So what do you think Google are going to be able to bring to Monzo itself?
A flat battery, basically. For anyone that's listening and watching, yes, I did try a Google Pixel 15 Pro, and I tried the watch and I tried the earbuds. I spent my life plugged into a wall being charged. Everything, like, the phone's dead, right? Charge that. Put the phone back. Right, got the phone's charged again. Oh, now my earbuds are dead. I was charging the blooming watch twice a day. Right, so it's all gone. It's all gone back, and I'm back on the Apple bandwagon. My moment of insanity is over. But here's my thought on this blog and intangible evidence you found. We know Apple Pay and Google Pay is the next big thing. Like, that's, everyone's paying by contactless these days. Most people are paying by contactless on their phones, because if you pay contactless on your card, there's £100 spend limit. Pay contactless on your phone or your watch, no limit, unless you set one yourself.
Right?
Yes, because it's ID'd you through your face or your fingerprint.
Yeah.
So, is this Google's approach to supercharge Google Pay by using Monzo and the technology in Monzo, and bringing open banking technology to Google Pay?
Interesting.
That's my tinfoil hat thought.
I like it, because if you think Apple's already got a march on them, haven't they? And I know it's not in the UK, it's US only, but you can get the Apple card, can't you? And you can go down that route, but it's all powered by a third party, and apparently they're losing a lot of money out of this deal. It's not been very good for them. So I see what you're saying. So this is more of a, let's get, if this goes, you know, tinfoil hat moment goes down the route, this is more of a, let's just embed that all in and run it through there. That is interesting. So because it's Google Wallet, isn't it? They've got, that's their equivalent to Apple Wallet.
Yeah, Google Wallet, Google Pay thing. Yeah.
So if they've got that, then that's where this could all sit potentially.
And also remember, this isn't just Google. This is Android.
Yes.
It powers all the payment facilities on every phone. So yes, Samsung have launched their own thing that's not doing very well, but it's also got Google Pay on the Android software. So yeah, this could be. I don't think they're interested in going into banking. I think they're interested in open banking, payment providers, and technology in the banking space that will supercharge Google Pay. I think that's the angle they'd be going for.
I'd say my take on it, or my bit that I wanted to talk about, was the fact that if at the moment in time we've had this big jump from your standard bank, your high street bank, and this is UK talking, so thinking about America, what this could do, but from a UK point of view, we've gone from your standard high street bank, then challenger banks came along. Now, if you've got Silicon Valley being involved in that challenger bank space, like there might have someone like Google, what they could bring to it in theory, surely this could be the next step up, right?
Yeah.
And for America, you're going from black and white TV to straight to VR technology, aren't you? I mean, if you look at their infrastructure, that could be huge, right?
Yeah, so I think Europe and UK, the Monzo acquisition, if it does go ahead, would supercharge Google Pay. And I would not be surprised if this is their play in the US to modernize the US banking system completely.
Yep.
Because the US primarily still work on checks and cash.
Exactly.
So if Google think they can bring in Monzo from Europe and put it into the US and dominate the banking industry, I mean, whether the government will let them have that kind of control and stuff is a different matter. But it could be a very clever move from Google.
And do you reckon Bard or AI has got anything, like, would they be able to bring anything to the table?
Well, it's all possibility, isn't it? Because they're bringing in, they've got the AI tool. So it's like QuickBooks Intuit Assist. In theory, there's all sorts of possibilities because of the data that Intuit have.
Especially in America with QuickBooks Bank, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, QuickBooks Assist, who do I need to pay? All these people. Can you just make those payments? Can I afford it? Yeah, brilliant. Then make the payments, please. Like, that's the dream, right? That's the end goal, right? We watched it in that video way back when, was it 5 years ago now, where that person sat in the back of the car. Like, that's the idea we get to, and I think Google and Monzo can start looking at that sort of functionality, like Bard, do X, Y, Z, or Google Assist, whatever it's called nowadays.
And that could be another reason that Google's actually doing this, is because they're worried Intuit are going to get the steal on them because of Intuit Assist and QuickBooks Bank in the US.
Yeah. So this is their way of being competitive with them.
Yeah. So it's an interesting angle.
Because Monzo have their own FMS equivalent in there. It's not very good, but they've got their own there, haven't they? They've kind of built their own, like Starling has, like Tide have. They've got their own thing. Do you reckon that they would want to push that end of it? Is this a new player in the market, or are we thinking, is that too much tinfoil? Have we exercised our tinfoil too much at this point?
Yeah, I think you've started crossing a line. But yeah, no, I think it could be a very interesting acquisition for Google and for Google Pay and banking in America. So yeah, cool. Okay, let's take the tinfoil hats back into reality.
Out of the fantasy zone.
Yeah, out of the fantasy zone, back into reality. And Aaron, we're in London this week. Well, not right now, obviously. Yeah,
for me,
you and
shocked,
I, yeah, completely shocked. Do you even know what Derby looks like anymore? Like, I'm fairly sure you just go home to do this episode and then you go back to London.
Yeah, if you ask my wife, that's exactly what she'll tell you.
But yes, so you and I are in London this week, and we're going to be at the Small Business Show. Now, I did the Small Business Show with QuickBooks last year, and you and I are going to be there this year with QuickBooks. And they've got a big stand in the front door as you walk in, and there's going to be a big wall that says "Speak to an accountant today," and people are going to be able to come up and speak to you and me for 2 days solid. We did the same principle as a trial last year for QuickBooks, and it was incredibly successful. I had a queue of 5 or 10 people for 2 days solid, like just wanting to ask how they can do certain things in QuickBooks or quick tax advice and stuff. And this event seems to fall on the autumn budget autumn statement
Oh,
being announced. So I started getting questions about that on day 2. So we need to do our research that night. But yeah, it's a fantastic event that makes Accountex look tiny. So Accountex has like 10,000 people turn up. The Small Business Show has 30,000 people turn up over 2 days. It's incredible. But what's the reason that we would recommend anyone going is it's about small businesses. It's not narrowed into the niche of accounting and bookkeeping. So we're all business owners. We all own and run businesses. So being able to go to an event where they've got a more broader selection of speakers talking about a broader topic of running a small business is fantastic. So if you're in and around London, make sure you pop in. It's a free ticket, as these events are at the London Excel. So yeah, well worth popping in. And of course, when you come through the doors and you see the big QuickBooks stand, pop over and say hello to myself and Aaron, if we're not inundated with a queue of people wanting to ask questions. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one again. It was really one of my highlights of last year was attending this and being part of that QuickBooks team, that QuickBooks family on the day. Was fantastic. So yeah, I'm hoping you're going to enjoy it as much as I did last year, Aaron.
yeah, it'd be interesting, won't it? I mean, I don't know what to expect. I think in my mind, I'm thinking it's like you said, Accountex but bigger. I'm like, how is that even possible? But okay, let's go with that then. Let's go with Accountex but bigger. And I'm just excited to see what it's like. I think I've reined in what I wanted to do at the event because I think we've learned, haven't we? We need to start saying no to some things and start being sensible in terms of what we can achieve in the time frame that's there. So I think this has been a big, really good, important for us in terms of learning what we can and can't do at these events and being able to make sure that we put our energy into what's needed. So at this point, our energy has to be around the QuickBooks stand and supporting those guys and being available to be able to talk to the people who are coming to the stand. So yeah, let's make sure that's our focus because originally we were social media takeover and all sorts, weren't we? Again,
You were.
Yeah, true.
You forget. I did this last year. I know how busy we're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think it's important for us to understand that, right? Like, we're only a finite amount of resource, so we've got to make sure we put that resource into the right things. So yeah, I'm well looking forward to it. I think there's going to be some good things. Is there a nightlife after this event, like Accountex? Or
no, no, it's normally just go out, go and have some dinner with the QuickBooks team, which is always a good opportunity anyway. But yeah, it's an interesting event because Sage were there last year, but I don't believe they're going to be there this year. Xero don't do this event. I'm not really sure who else does, if anyone, because it's such a broad range. I mean, when I was there, the team that QuickBooks send are the direct team. So, the local baker ringing up QuickBooks saying, I want to use QuickBooks. It's that team that looks after that. But this year they're sending 2 teams because there were so many accountants and bookkeepers at this event that QuickBooks have deployed both the direct team and the accounting bookkeeping team to support queries from both angles. So yeah, it's going to be a great event. I'm really looking forward to it. And the trial last year was to see if there was interest in having experts on the stand answering questions. Like, would the small business owners attending see value in asking accountants questions free of charge there and then? And yes, it was a complete and utter success, which is why there's now 2 of us doing it. And there's a whole wall and a sitting area and stuff for us to do it at. But yeah, I mean, it puts you and me at the forefront of however many thousands of businesses that are going to go through those doors. So yeah, and it reinforces that message from QuickBooks that the accountants and bookkeepers at the forefront of that relationship.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
You can't just come and use our software. Well, you can, but we advise you use it alongside your accountant and bookkeeper, so much so that we've actually put 2 of them on this stand with us today. So yeah, great message to be sending out. And have you seen all the adverts now? All the heroes behind the heroes?
Yeah.
Fantastic social. And you can tell it's working because accountants and bookkeepers are sharing it on social media.
Big time.
Which
Yeah, there's been a
they
huge
approve
adoption
of
for
it.
it. Exactly.
Which is
And there's no
phenomenal.
negativity around it, right? Like,
Not that I've
we
seen.
were the first to criticize the screaming man. We were the first to criticize well, I
The
was a
little
little bit on the fence, but you were very critical of the chicken one, right?
bloody
Whereas these ones, they just seem to be more, more in line with the message that QuickBooks are saying, which is
Yeah.
what all we can ever ask for. And I know from talking to the social media team, there was a lot of what they call activation, which is a new term for me anyway. So yeah, I'm going to steal that term. But there's a lot of activation of that campaign coming along because it's a year-long campaign. And even ourselves at Bofix, we've already in conversations with them of, okay, how can we jump on this bandwagon and jump with this and go through from there?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And it makes sense. Like, it's a fun, exciting little campaign, isn't it? And you can see straight away that there's a lot of cogs starting to turn and cogs about how we can jump on this and push that. So and like you said, for this campaign here, I think there is going to be a hero-esque element to this campaign, which will be cool to kind of see.
Yeah.
We might have to take our masks along with us, our QuickBooks hero masks along with us to get the most out of it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so it is Black Friday week, people. I've already spent a fortune. My office has now got a new alarm system. The new lighting system I brought won't work because it's the wrong lights.
Lights. Which ones did you go for?
So, I wanted these, the smart. So I've got these spot bulbs here, like halogen bulb type things, LED ones, and I wanted smart control ones, so I could control the different brightnesses from everywhere.
Yep.
And then I realized when I took the light fitting apart, it's like, these are not the same bulbs. So I'm gonna have to revisit that plan. But we've now got a smart bulb in our living room. So we're not at the light switch for us is on the wrong side of the room for us to then get up the stairs without breaking our necks. So we now have a smart one that we can tell our home system to go turn off the lounge light, and it does without us breaking our necks. So it's lovely. But there is so many deals out there at the moment on creator stuff, isn't there? So Elgato have got some deals on some of their lights, which are fantastic. I use a lot of the Elgato lights on my cameras and stuff.
Yep.
Rode,
the Steam Deck's got a nice little price saving as well, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. So that's another one to look at. And Rode, which is what we use for our sound, for our microphones, our headphones, and our recording devices, have got a great deal where if you buy any of their certain devices, you get £120 worth of headphones free, which are fantastic headphones as well. Aaron and I are both very upset that we've paid full price for our headphones. But yeah, there is absolutely tons and tons of fantastic deals out there. So our top tip for you guys this week really is, if you're planning to start creating content, you don't even need to use like the Elgato and the Rode stuff like we do. But if you're planning to start creating some content, then now is the time to start looking at gear and getting maybe a bit more of a premium product than you were planning to for the price of a not so premium product. So yeah, that would be our top advice for the week ahead, people, is check out the deals that are available to you.
Yeah, even if it's just a ring light or something like that, it's amazing how much a light can completely transform the way that your setup is. So a half decent light could be a huge addition to it. So there's like, I'm looking at one now, 23% off at the moment, right? So you're not going to get them sort of deals any other time. So look at getting yourself a nice little light. They're always good ones to jump at. And my other tip as well is to think about just your small little accessories. I haven't done a Black Friday ever without buying myself an SD card at some point, because they're just throwaway price at this point during these events to try and entice you to buy the big camera or whatever. So yeah, I would definitely look to get yourself a new SD card while they're going for a good price, and going from there. And the amount, I say this every time, but the amount of money that I could have saved if we'd have held off our purchases and just bought during Black Friday would have been ridiculous, right? But you
Yeah.
can't live like that, can you? You've got to,
No.
especially when for us it's all about getting more exposure and more income, etc. Anyway, so yeah,
Definitely.
but yeah, definitely. If you've not got any of it, this is a good time to do it. Even the camera you use, right? The ZV EV1, EV10, EV1.
Yeah, CV10. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Is
Paul's just said in the
ridiculous
comments, have you got any recommendations for cameras and stuff? So first of all, your phone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely.
Apple phones now, especially now the USB-C, if you've got the 15, if you've not, you've got the 14 or something, even then, they make great web cameras and they're great for filming content. If you're looking for something like a static webcam, Aaron and I use the Insta360 Insta360s, which are the ones on gimbals and they track around the room. They've got AI in them. They're fantastic. Not cheap microphones, but not cheap webcams, but worth every penny if you're creating content.
Yeah, and they're on offer for Black Friday as well.
And they're on offer. Then I've got the Insta360 Go like action cam thing. So this is what I use to shoot my snorkeling footage in my vlog the other day, the other week even. And this is what I use to get the point of view stuff when I'm walking around town and getting onto buses and trains. And then I've got, hang on. And then I've got, if it comes over, yeah. So this is a Sony CV10, which is their budget one. It's nothing exciting or expensive or anything, but it's a fantastic device. So definitely worth looking around if you want to start creating content. Good sound, good camera. No, good sound, good lighting, and an average camera will get you a mile down the road.
Yeah. And the other big one is we swear by these, right? There's different opportunities to get them, but
DJI
a wireless
mics.
mic, yeah. So the DJI mics are amazing. Rode have got some as well, so you can't go wrong really with which one, depending on what your budgets are and what's on offer at the time. But amazing, you know, getting yourself a wireless microphone is huge in terms of it, because we all know, right? If you're going to watch a video and they've got really dodgy sound, unforgivable. But if you're watching it and it's a, you know, not great video but the sound's fine, you're more than likely going to continue to the end of that, right? So yeah, definitely take advantage of the of that if it's in your price range.
Brilliant. Right, well, that brings us up to time, Aaron, so we will wrap it up and call it a day. I will see you in 2 days' time down in London for the Small Business Show. If anyone's attending the Small Business Show, please pop by the QuickBooks stand and say hello. And I'm sure we'll have some top trump cards available if you mention the podcast, so you can grab some of those. Otherwise, we will join you back here next week at 8:30 every Monday on whichever social media platform you're following us on. If you want to leave us a review, then please do. We do appreciate any reviews on the podcasts. If you've got any questions that you want us to answer, stick them, and you're watching this back at a later date, stick them in the comments and we'll bring them up into the next week's episode for you as well. So that's everything from me. Anything from you, Aaron?
Nope, sounds good. You got the outro right. I'm happy.
Oh, is there a script?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on a different page. There's no wonder I don't.
No, we're happy with that one. That was well done, even if it was off the top of your head.
There we go. Brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for joining us in the comments and asking questions and stuff. It makes life and these events so much better for us all. So we will see you all next week.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.